Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we commence a journey through the life of a revered mystic poet and saint, Kabir Das. Kabir is famous for criticizing organized religions, questioning what he saw as meaningless and unethical practices in Hinduism and Islam. He faced threats from both Hindus and Muslims during his life for his views. Interestingly, after his death, followers from both communities claimed him as their own. According to Kabir, the truth lies with those who follow the path of goodness, see divinity in everything, and stay detached from worldly matters. To understand the truth, Kabir advised letting go of the ego by dropping the I. His teachings live on through the Kabir Panth, a religious community that sees him as its founder. People who follow this path are called Kabir Panthis. Kabir Das was born in Kashi, Uttar Pradesh, during the mid-15th century. Kabir's birth and death years are uncertain. Some historians think he lived from 1398 to 1448, while others believe it was from 1440 to 1518. Generally, Kabir is thought to have been born in 1398, on the full moon day of the Jeshta month, according to the historical Hindu calendar, Vikram Samvat. However, there's a lot of scholarly debate about the details of Kabir's birth. There are different opinions, conflicting facts, and various legends surrounding his life. Legend has it that Kabir's birth was quite extraordinary. His mother, a devout widow, received a blessing from an ascetic during a pilgrimage, predicting the birth of her son. To avoid shame, she left Kabir by the bank of a lake, who was later adopted by Nima, the wife of a Muslim weaver. There's a fascinating version that says Kabir was born from the palm of his mother, and he boldly claimed to be a special being. When people questioned Nima about the child's origin, Kabir, as a newborn, miraculously proclaimed, "I wasn't born like others. I manifested as a boy. I don't have bones, blood, or skin. I reveal the word to people. I am the highest being." Comparisons with biblical legends aside, these stories about Kabir, whether completely accurate or not, highlight his extraordinary nature. Legends filled with fantasies and myths often surround exceptional individuals, and Kabir seems to be no exception. In the times Kabir lived, his name was quite uncommon. Legend has it that a qazi, consulting the Quran multiple times for a suitable name, kept landing on Kabir, meaning great, a term reserved for God, Allah. Kabir in his poems refers to himself as a weaver, using terms like Julaha and Kori, indicating a lower caste. Interestingly, he didn't align himself solely with Hindus or Muslims. Despite not having formal education and lacking training as a weaver, Kabir's heart wasn't fully into his profession. His poems, filled with weaving metaphors, reveal his true passion, a spiritual journey in search of truth. To fulfill his spiritual yearning, Kabir aspired to be the disciple of Ramananda, a renowned saint in Varanasi, who was renowned for his devotion to Vaishnavism, emphasizing a strong inclination toward the monist Advaita philosophy. His teachings emphasized the belief that God resides within every individual and everything in the universe. Kabir believed that if he could discover Ramananda's secret mantra, he could then be initiated. Ramananda frequented a specific ghat in Varanasi. One day as he approached, Kabir laid down on the ghat stairs. Startled, Ramananda gasped the word Ram. Kabir found the mantra and was eventually accepted as a disciple by the saint. Kabir also had a Sufi teacher, Sheikh Takshi, indicating the influence of Sufi philosophy on his teachings. There's a place called Kabir Chaura in Varanasi, believed to be his childhood home. Kabir eventually married Loy and had 2 children, Kamal and Kamali. Some sources suggest different details about his marital status. Despite uncertainties about his personal life, his poems provide profound insights into his philosophy. Kabir's spiritual focus was intense. According to Prafurnd Hazari Prasad, Kabir was devoted to Ram, but not as an incarnation of Vishnu. For him, Ram is formless, attributeless, transcending time, space, and causation. Kabir's ultimate goal was the absolute God, devoid of form and attributes, existing beyond time and space. His God is knowledge, bliss, and the Shabda, or word. Kabir described God as without face or symbolic form, subtler than a flower's fragrance. He was strongly influenced by Upanishadic non-dualism and Islamic monism. Kabir also drew guidance from the Vaishnava Bhakti tradition, emphasizing complete surrender to God. Kabir rejected caste distinctions. Once, when Brahmin men were purifying themselves in the Ganges, Kabir offered them water from the river in his wooden cup. Offended, they questioned his lower caste. Kabir replied, "If Ganges water can't purify my cup, how can it wash away my sins?" Kabir strongly opposed idol worship and criticized both Hindus and Muslims for what he saw as pointless rites and customs. He believed that true devotion to God was the key. In his poems, he expressed these ideas vividly. Kabir, not intentionally a poet, conveyed his spiritual journey, joy and pain through his verses. He's an extraordinary poet, known solely through his poems. Despite being an ordinary man, his poetry has endured for centuries due to its simple language and profound spiritual depth. Initially shared orally, Kabir's poetry was eventually written down. He composed two-line dohas and longer songs set to music. Kabir's poems, while straightforward, carry intricate symbolism, lacking any specific form or meter. Kabir's writings had a big impact on Hinduism's Bhakti movement, and you can find his verses in Sikhism's holy book, Guru Granth Sahib. Nowadays, people from various backgrounds, including Hindus, Sikhs, and even Muslims, especially Sufis, sing his poems. Rabindranath Tagore, a Nobel Prize winner and a well-known Indian poet, first published the English translation and compilation, 100 Poems of Kabir, in 1915. This classic has been widely reprinted and circulated, especially in the West. Kabir urged people to look within and consider all human beings as manifestation of God's living forms. Let's see a snippet from his poem. If God be within the mosque, then to whom does this world belong? If Ram be within the image which you find upon your pilgrimage, then who is there to know what happens without? Hari is in the east, Allah is in the west. Look within your heart, for there you will find both Karim and Ram. All the men and women of the world are his living forms. Kabir is the child of Allah and of Ram. He is my guru, he is my peer. Translated by Rabindranath Tagore. Here, Kabir urged people to introspect and see every human being as a manifestation of God's living forms. In his poem, he questions the ownership of the world, emphasizing that God is not confined to a specific place or form. Kabir invites individuals to explore their hearts, where both Karim and Ram reside, recognizing the divine essence in all men and women. Kabir considers himself a child of both Allah and Ram, proclaiming them as his guru and peer. Kabir's poems became a part of the Adi Granth, the holy scripture of Sikhism. His verses, making up the largest non-Sikh contribution, were included in this important text. Certain scholars suggest that Kabir's ideas were among the various influences on Guru Nanak, who later established Sikhism in the 15th century. Some of dohas by Kabir touch upon various aspects of life, philosophy, love, spirituality, and the importance of selfless action in life, offering profound insights and reflections. These are as follows. In times of sorrow, everyone remembers the divine, but in happiness, hardly anyone does. Those who remember the divine in joy won't be troubled by sorrow. I searched for the wicked, found none. When I looked within myself, I was the only one. Reading scriptures, the world died, yet no one became wise. He who reads the 2.5 letters of love becomes truly wise. Where are you searching for me, O friend? I am right here within you, not in pilgrimage, not in idols, not in solitude. When I existed, the divine did not. Now that the divine exists, I do not. The lane of love is very narrow. At that time, I am not aware of duality. Don't act with the desire for results. In the end, the fruits will be as they are destined. As you sow, so shall you reap. Now let's shift our focus to Kabir's profound impact on the realm of yoga. Unlike the physical postures we often associate with yoga today, Kabirji's yoga was a journey of self-discovery and union with the divine. Kabir's yoga was a path of devotion, a journey within, where he emphasized the importance of connecting with the divine through simplicity, love, and mindfulness. He believed that the truest form of yoga was not just about bodily postures, but about purifying the mind and soul. Kabir traveled extensively in his long life. As he aged, sources say he became too frail to play music praising Ram. In his final moments, he reached the city of Magar in Uttar Pradesh. It is believed that after he passed away, a dispute arose between Hindus wanting to cremate his body and Muslims wanting to bury it. A miraculous moment occurred. Some believe he merged with the divine in Varanasi, while others suggest he vanished mysteriously and flowers appeared beneath his shroud. Half of these flowers were cremated in Kashi, and the other half was buried in Magar. Kabir indeed died in Magar, where his grave is now. His final poems are translated in Adi Granth. Leaving Benares behind, my understanding has become small. My entire life spent in Shivpuri. At the end, I have come to Magar. O my king, I am a Bairagi and Yogi. In death I am not sad nor separated from you. Mind and breath are like a drinking gourd. The fiddle is always ready. The string is strong, never breaking. The fiddle plays continuously. Sing, sing, O bride, a beautiful song of blessing. King Ram, my husband, has come to my house. Kabir, the enlightened master, passed away in Magar in January 1518. His universal appeal led to Muslims and Hindus building a tomb, mazar, and a memorial, samadhi respectively, for him after his death. Both structures stand together, symbolizing unity. Every year on Makar Sankranti, January 14th, a festival is celebrated at this site. In Kashi, there are 2 temples dedicated to Kabir. One is cared for by Hindus, and the other by Muslims. Interestingly, both temples follow similar worship practices, singing his songs daily. People see Kabir in different ways based on their religious beliefs. For Sikhs, he's seen as someone who came before and had conversations with Nanak, the first Sikh guru. Muslims consider him part of Sufi traditions, focusing on mysticism. Hindus view him as a devotee of Vishnu with broad universal perspectives. Kabir's legacy continues to be carried forward by the Kabir Panth, a religious community that recognizes him as its founder. This community was founded centuries after Kabir died in various parts of India over the 17th and 18th centuries. Its members, known as Kabir Panthis. And there you have it, the remarkable journey of Kabir Das Ji, a weaver turned mystic, whose words transcend time and continue to guide seekers on the path of spirituality. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful explorations. Until next time, may the wisdom of Kabir inspire your hearts. Stay safe, stay sattvic,